But you're not someone who like, I know that there's people who will like wear an old t-shirt and they know that they're just going to end up throwing that out.
No, Christopher, I have t-shirts from like high school that I still have. Like, I do not throw things away. Hello and welcome to the Worldwide Honeymoon Travel Podcast, the podcast that talks about all things couples travel, including destinations, tips, advice, and more. I'm Kat.
I'm Chris.
And this is episode number 222.
Third day in a row.
Third day in a row recording because I leave in just a few days for another trip. And then we go to South Africa.
Adios, mi esposa.
Wait.
What was that? Was that?
I understood what you meant in Spanish.
And you answered in
French.
French.
And I answered in French. So I don't know where my brain is at right now.
There we are.
It's late. I've spent the whole day writing about champagne or, yeah, like for France Voyager today.
Did you do any research?
I mean, while I was in Champagne, I did quite
like
a bit of
taste testing research?
No,
Did you do it today?
I wrote today.
Okay.
I obviously took my notes while I was in Hans. Because I wrote about champagne tastings in France.
Hold on. When you say that,
yeah,
is that France?
No.
What are you saying?
The city is spelled R-E-I-M-S.
Reims.
Yes, but it is pronounced, and I could be wrong. I mean, it's pronounced similar to how I am saying it, Hans.
I have been wrong before with pronunciation.
But I know that, like, it's close to that. I've heard lots of people say it, but, like, obviously my French pronunciation is not always perfect, so... But that's the closest I could get to saying it. It's almost like rents, but, like, Hans.
Okay.
That's how I kept picturing it in my head.
Easy enough.
So, yeah, I wrote about that today, and champagne tasting there, and an itinerary. I have, like, a whole guide that I wrote today. So that'll be going live... I don't know. Maybe by the time this podcast episode goes live, I don't really know.
Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see. Whenever I get around to editing. But yeah, what about you? What have you been up to?
Not a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Went
mean,
for a run. My hip still hurts. That's fun.
That's a bummer.
It is a bummer.
I'm feeling better.
That's good. Yeah, Christopher's been battling this cold.
That's my big highlight.
Yeah. And knock on wood, I haven't caught it yet.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That's amazing. Anything else that's happened over the past 24 hours that is worthy of sharing?
Not really.
All right.
Just hanging out, thriving.
You always are.
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and talk about today's episode then?
Sure. Let's dive in.
Alrighty. So, yeah, this episode is all about packing for a trip. Mm-hmm. So, Kat and I kind of have a running joke between the two of us that we both approach packing very differently.
We do.
Very differently. So our guess is that you guys may approach it differently as well. And maybe it's like different than your partner or your spouse or what have you, but that is the case in our house. So really, this is just about like an approach to packing, what you do, how you do it. And it may seem like kind of like an obvious thing, but I think when we like get down into it, there may be something that like you don't think about, or there may be a tip where you're like, oh, I've never like really done it that way. So you're welcome.
Okay.
All right. So the first question that I have for you is, where do you start when packing for a trip?
I always start with getting ready, things that I need to get ready in the morning. So whether it's like brushing my teeth, washing my face, taking a shower, and all of that stuff, I will go through every single thing in my head that I need to do to get ready in the morning, and we'll pack that first. That is my first approach.
So like toiletries and personal care items.
Yes. That is the first thing I always do.
Is that because that's the first thing you do every day?
Yes. So I sort of go about it. So I have a pretty unorthodox method, I suppose, of packing. I used to make
we'll
packing.
get into that in a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I usually start it like I would start my day. I'm going to get up, brush my teeth, take a shower, and then all of the things I would need to get ready step by step, and then so on and so forth. So that is my approach.
That's your starting point.
That's my starting point.
Okay.
What about you?
My starting point is always, I wrote down a company's website. So, and I'll kind of like,
Okay.
I'll kind of flesh that out here. When we went to Tambo Potter Research Center, they had like a list of like recommended things that you bring. We're going shark cage diving. They have like a here's what you should bring on the boat. So to the extent that there are things that are recommended or necessities or what have you, that is where I will start with, or that is where I will start rather. As like a 1B, weight and dimensions. That way, like as I'm kind of like approaching the packing, I know that like, okay, I have 30 pounds to work with. I have 20 pounds to work with, what have you. So weights, dimensions, and then any sort of like, hey, you're doing this, you need this. Those are my first kind of go-tos.
Okay. Do we continue? What's next or?
Well, my next question for
Okay.
you is, do you approach packing the same way for each trip? Or does it depend upon your destination? Does it depend upon what piece of luggage you're bringing?
It does not depend on the luggage I'm bringing because I pretty much always do carry-on only, and they fit pretty much the same amount of stuff.
I do not agree with that
You
whatsoever.
don't agree?
No, I think that the backpack fits far more than the hard shell case.
Well, and I guess that, I suppose in a way, it stretches more because it's not a hard shell case. So you get a little bit more like stretching room there. But I also bring my small backpack, and that's where I keep my camera and my toiletries and all of that stuff. And I just put all my clothes in the suitcase. So typically that's sort of how I do it. But I don't really change it based on the trip unless there's, I guess, yeah, there are certain things I'm going to pack. Like when we went to St. Lucia, I know that I was going to need a snorkel or my snorkel stuff and like a bathing suit and stuff. But when I'm going to France, I'm not going to go snorkeling in Champagne, so I'm not going to bring that. Is that sort of what you mean?
Yeah. I think so. Like, whether your like packing methodology changes depending on like maybe you're going on a beach trip to a city trip to like a warm destination to a cold destination, or do you kind of approach packing the same way each time?
Yeah, I would say that. So again, clothes are always last for me, so I will check the weather and then pack accordingly when it comes to things like that. But I'll still start the same way because I'm still going to need to brush my teeth in the morning and like shower and et cetera, et cetera. So I always start because that's also some of the more important things too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you're going to need that you can't always find elsewhere or as easily versus like a bathing suit that you can pretty much buy in a lot of places. But pro tip, can I just throw this out? Always bring a swimsuit. I don't care if you're going to the Arctic. I don't care where you're going. Always bring a swimsuit. You may not need it. You may not use it, but it's usually swimsuits are small. They can easily squeeze in your luggage. And there have been times where we're staying at a hotel and oh my goodness, there's a little spa with like a pool and a sauna and stuff. And like we have time to go. And so we'll use that. Or, we go to a hotel that has a pool and it's a hot day and we're like, oh, okay, let's use that. Like, yeah, I'm always like, it doesn't matter where I'm going. I will always bring a swimsuit just in case. That is my biggest just in case item to bring is a swimsuit because you just never know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that actually leads right into another question that I have. Any recommendations on like must include items? So swimsuit. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, you know what? Let me also answer my prior question because I did not give an answer to that. I also approach packing the same way every time. Mm-hmm. I do not deviate. I'll go into my approach a little later, but just know that approach works for everything. Mm-hmm. So back to recommendations. Other than a swimsuit, is there something that you are like, look, this is always going to be in my suitcase, no matter what?
I guess aside from like toiletries,
yeah,
those are always gonna be in my suitcase.
I would say
need
anything that you may not think of otherwise. Right? It's not, it's something that you're always thankful when you have it, but there's never like an absolute reason to have it.
An umbrella is always a really good thing to pack. Because, and a lot of the times I forget to pack it and then I regret it because it rains and then I have to go buy one or like borrow it from a hotel. And I'm notorious, like I will never buy an expensive umbrella because I am notorious about forgetting it, leaving it somewhere, and then it's gone, which I did on my last trip to Champaign. I borrowed one of the umbrellas from the hotel we were staying at, and I accidentally left it in a grocery store when I was checking out. And by the time we realized, I was like, whatever, I guess they'll just charge me for the umbrella because I didn't have time to go back and get it. But so having an umbrella, especially a small one that can either fit in your coat pocket or like in your bag or something that you can just whip out if it starts to rain, that's a great idea. Sunscreen, always.
You love sunscreen.
I mean, it's the best
It's
thing.
a good thing.
It's the best thing you can do for your skin. So, but yeah, so sunscreen, and umbrella, sunglasses, and some sort of like a light jacket.
Okay.
Just in case if it does get chilly. Even if you're going somewhere warm, maybe at night it could be chilly. I don't know. Like I'm going to Puerto Rico and I'm probably still going to bring like some sort of like light rain jacket type thing.
Okay.
For nighttime. But let's see, what else? Oh, my masks for the plane.
Yes,
like
your hydrating masks.
My hydrating masks, especially for long flights. I don't do that for like too many short ones. Yeah, I think
you like that?
I think that's for the most part what I'm rocking with.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first thing that I thought of was a deck of cards.
That's smart.
I always like to bring a deck of cards. Whether it's downtime, whether you're on the plane, whether you're in the airport, whether there's downtime at the hotel or the lodge or what have you, always good to have a deck of cards. We have played War on, I think, every single one of our trips.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always good. There's another game that I enjoy called Pass the Pigs. Mm-hmm. Really tiny. They're like, it's essentially dice, but with pigs. Mm-hmm. Tiny little pigs. Great game. Does not take up space. And then this is like a more practical one. I am a contacts/glasses wearer. Mm-hmm. I will never bring just the pair of contacts that I have in. I'll always bring a spare lens, at least one. And I will always bring my glasses as well as my contacts. Even if I only wear glasses or only wear contacts, just in case something happens, I have a backup eyesight.
That's true. And like for the plane, especially if we're on a long flight, you want to take off your contacts because they'll get dry. I mean, everything gets dry on a plane, but that helps.
Exactly.
Also, and this is just me, but like extra pairs of underwear, I will always pack extra pairs of underwear. I am notorious for packing probably double the amount that I need.
Every time.
Thinking that I'm going to like crap my pants every day. I don't, but
gross.
No, but like it's like I feel like there's a lot of people that do this, that like
what?
Not crap their pants
every day.
No, but like pack all these extra underwear just in case.
What is the rationale there?
Well, if you start your cycle, if you I don't know, if it gets dirty somehow, like if we go for a run and I need an extra pair to change into, or it's like very hot in a destination, I don't know. It's just nice to have extra ones just in case. You know what I mean?
I don't, because remind me to ask this question when we get to the last question.
Okay.
Let's revisit that, because maybe I do the same thing, but I don't think of it that way.
You don't even at least pack like a couple of extra pairs of underwear?
We'll get there.
I feel like that's always just a smart idea, just in case. Or like your flight gets delayed or canceled and you only packed the amount of underwear you needed. And now now you've got dirty underwear, so you got to like figure out what to do. Like it's always good to have an extra pair just in case.
I will get back to this.
Okay.
Because I think we do the same thing. I think we just view it differently. Okay. My next question. Thoughts on packing versus buying there?
Oh, packing. I try to pack as much as I can. Like, I don't want to have to spend my time on vacation running around purchasing things, which I've had to do. In Peru, I started my period and had to purchase things, and I forgot to bring stuff.
Yeah. And
I had to run around and go find a pharmacy that was open at like 8 o'clock at night or something and thankfully we were in a city and not like the Amazon rainforest. But yeah, it sucks to have to run around and like try to find something.
Yeah.
When, you know, you may not know where it's at. Like here, you could get some stuff at Target or some grocery stores, but then other places you have to go to the pharmacy or go somewhere else for it. So I would rather have it on me than have to like purchase it there, because then that just takes away time that you could use exploring too. What
Fair
about
enough.
you?
So if I know that I will need it, I am going to pack it. I think the big thing that I differ from you on is that if it's like an in-case item, I generally will not pack it. Like in case I get a cold, I should bring Dayquil. Or like in case I have a headache, I should bring Tylenol or something like that. I don't do that.
Yeah, I know you don't, because I do.
Well, no, but like,
because I pack the first aid kit. So I always have like a little first aid kit that I pack with like a handful of Band-Aids in case you get like a blister, you know, some ibuprofen, some like cold medicine, like stuff that just helps if you like, you're not feeling great one day or you have a headache or, you know, other things, just simple stuff, and stomach stuff like Tums or like, you know, if you're having issues with your stomach, it's always good to do, especially if you're like us and you like to try all the food. And it just happens. Sometimes your tummy doesn't agree with things.
Yes. So that's my thing, is that like if it's an in case, like I'll just buy like ibuprofen there, or like something to address that issue there. Like if I were just packing for myself, I would not be packing like Band-Aids and a first aid kit and like all of that kind of stuff.
No.
You're just shaking your head at me over there.
I know. Well, that's because like whenever you travel, it's with me. So I'm the one who takes it anyway, because I'm like, whatever, he'll need this potentially. So I take it.
I will say that came in very handy in Uganda.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So, yeah. And in Italy, I got a nasty blister on the back of my ankle in Italy.
Yeah, see? And you didn't have to run around and find where you could get a Band-Aid.
Well, I did. Because I went and I bought a bigger Band-Aid that was like a big patch, remember?
That's right.
So like that's kind of my point, is like I'll just get it there.
Yeah.
I don't need to bring the first aid kit.
Okay.
I mean, if I need a first aid kit, then there's a bigger problem than the fact that I don't have a first aid kit. I'll bring it hiking and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're hiking, that's a good idea. Or if you're going to be somewhere like the Amazon rainforest or something. I mean, I guess the lodge probably has stuff, but...
Well, I have, like, if I'm going to an area where it's available, right? Like, if I'm going to a city, I'm not going to bring a first aid kit. Would that change you at all or no?
I don't bring as much stuff if it's a city trip, but I will pack a couple Band-Aids and like ibuprofen and like maybe like allergy pills or something, like just in case. Okay. But like that's pretty much it. Like when I went to Paris this last time, I think I packed Band-Aids because I already had a blister from running, and then maybe some ibuprofen in my purse. But that's pretty much all I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next question here. Do you bring back what you take there? Or do you leave anything behind to kind of like create some more space in your luggage to bring things home?
I, as you know, Christopher, hate throwing things away.
That is very true.
Well, first of all, any of my beauty products that I have not finished, absolutely not. That's expensive. Like skincare stuff, that is not cheap. So I will bring that home. But if it is like toothpaste and there's nothing and it's basically empty, I'll leave it. But for the most part, I bring everything home.
But you're not someone who like, I know that there's people who will like wear an old t-shirt and they know that they're just going to end up throwing that out.
No, Christopher, I have t-shirts from like high school that I still have. Like I do not throw things away. I have like several pairs of old tennis shoes that I'm like, oh, I'll use these as like my dirty shoes. You know, when you got to go outside and do things in the dirt. I never do that here. I guess growing up back home.
We don't have a yard.
I know, but growing up back home, we would do like yard work and I'd have like my dirty shoes for that. And then you have like your clean running shoes. And I have so many pairs that I've never worn since I've been like,
these are my dirty shoes?
These are my dirty shoes.
We're going to be going through some closets after this episode.
No. Oh my gosh. I hate throwing things away, especially, well, in closets, just a whole other thing because I'm like, oh, well, this will come back in style. Like I'm not getting rid of my skinny jeans because I guarantee you in the next 5 years, they're going to come back in style.
You heard it
And
here
as
first.
long as I can like still fit in them, I am going to keep them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really throw anything out either.
Yeah.
I will throw out toiletries, like if, like you said, like if it's a thing of toothpaste or like a travel size deodorant or something like that, that's like no longer usable.
Yeah.
I will throw that out. But like as far as like underwear or shirts or something like that, I generally will not throw that out. I did it once.
You did it when we went to South Africa last time. You brought like old t-shirts that we used on safari, and I think you threw them out. Or an old pair of tennis shoes you actually left behind.
Yeah, I do remember
Yeah.
doing that. But that was the only time I've ever done that.
Yeah.
Like, I have not done that since. And I think it was more so because it was to create room to bring stuff home.
Yeah.
And now I think I'm just a more efficient packer.
Okay.
So I don't
Humble
need
too.
that. I don't need that crutch.
Okay.
All right. All of that being said, walk me through your packing approach.
Okay, my very like strange, but Chris makes fun of me every time I do this. I used to do the packing list thing. I still somehow forget things when I do the packing list. So I will literally kind of talk to myself and I'll be like, okay, and I go from head to toe what I do in the morning. And I'm like, I get up, first thing I do, I go and I floss and brush my teeth. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to need my toothpaste, a toothbrush, and floss for that. Then I get in the shower and I'm like, okay, well, the hotels have stuff for my hair. So I have like my face, like I'll get my face wash and like razor and all that stuff. Get out all my skincare products, my makeup. Like I walk through all of it. And then I also walk through like everything I need to wear for each different scenario. So I go through each day being like, okay, well, this day we're flying and this day we're swimming and this day we're on safari. And I walk through everything that I need for those things. So I do it all out loud and it has to be quiet. Like Chris will be playing like music in the background. He's packing. I'm like, I can't think. You have to be quiet.
I can't even be in the room. Because
He'll
normally,
try talking to me and I'm like, no, I got to start over again. Like maybe this is my OCD as well.
normally,
But yeah.
you will be in the bedroom
Mm-hmm.
and like, I can't do anything in the bedroom. Like I have to exit the premises completely.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you will just kind of like use the bed as this giant like packing canvas.
No, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
And then I haven't used packing cubes for the suitcase because it's kind of sectioned off. Well, it's sectioned off in all these areas that I don't really need packing cubes, but I do still like packing cubes for the backpack because that way I can have like my sections of like, these are my t-shirts and these are like my running clothes and things like that.
This may be a foolish question. Why don't you just pack it in sections? Like, why don't you just put your t-shirt somewhere, your underwear somewhere, your or running clothes somewhere, and then you know what quadrant of your backpack
Okay,
it's in?
yeah, that works well on the way there. And then you're like, you have to move, you're changing hotels multiple times. And like, I don't know about you, but I'm not like delicately folding it back in where it goes. I like to have it. I know Christopher's a very different person than me. No, so I like to just be like, okay, well, this goes in this container that contains my
Even if it's
day
dirty?
clothes.
Do you put the dirty clothes
No.
back in the clean
I guess
packing
I don't
cubes?
because I usually always take like a plastic bag from the hotels for the laundry and I usually store it all in there and
So-
then wrap it.
So then the packing cubes are just for initial organization.
No, because some stuff I put back like jeans and dresses, like things I'm going to rewear, I'll put it back in there.
Oh, okay, got it.
It makes sense in my brain.
That's fine.
This is how I do it.
You
I'm
do
also a very visual learner type thing too. So it helps me to kind of go through, say it out loud, and then also picture it on the bed. So that way when I have everything, I can do a final go through of like, okay, this is what I do in the morning. And I see that I have all of these things. And then I go through and be like, this is what I need, like pajamas. And I see all of that. So I do it all like, yeah, the bed is basically my canvas. I put all of my toiletries, everything that I need, walking through each and every single day out loud and then picturing it, like seeing that stuff. And then once it's all done, I will get out the packing cubes, organize those, and put everything in the bag. And then I'm done.
You forgot the last step.
What?
Calling me in to zip up your backpack while you're sitting on it.
That does not always happen, first of all. And second of all, I now use the magical, if you guys have ever used one of those like can opener things,
A can opener?
Or not a can. No, it's like a jar opener. Like it's like this like
Oh, yeah.
gridded.
Like it's
like a textured thing.
It's
that
a
you
grip.
Yeah, it's like a grip for
jar lids.
Yeah, like a jar lid grip, and they're like these like what? What are they? Silicone?
Yeah. What are you using this for?
I'm using it to shut it because sometimes when it's tight, it like the zipper will get stuck and it doesn't want to go. And it hurts your thumb and your finger to do that. But if you get one of those like grippy things, you can use it and it'll work.
I have never seen you do this. And now I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, I pack it in my backpack.
Do you really?
Yes.
Oh,
so that I can use it.
So here's my question. Like, if you buy souvenirs, where are those going in this?
I find space. I don't know. I also have my second like smaller backpack that I keep my like purse in and my like toiletries, and there's usually a little bit of space there that I can shove a few souvenirs.
Okay.
Or pro tip, I always pack a little like little fold like reusable grocery bag, but it folds in on itself, and I always get them. I get them in France because at the grocery store they're right next to the counter, and you can just reuse them. And I keep them in my purse, and then if I go to a market, I can just whip that out, and then like I have stuff to carry at home. Sometimes I'll just put the backpack in that. That's what I did coming home from France, I think.
Oh,
and
okay.
Then, because I was like, oh, it's a little bit bigger than my small backpack, but it's still personal item size. So I stick it in there and like shove a bunch of stuff in it, and then I don't know.
You are a menace.
As you can tell, super organized. I mean, I still do like, yeah. But it's funny because I do make a lot of packing lists on the website, but it's things that I've used, and I'm like, hey, this is helpful for other people, so I'll just make this list.
Yeah. But
you're far better at actually doing a packing list. So do you want to talk about your methods?
Sure. So mine are a little different. What I will do is I will make a schedule of the trip day by day, but I will write it out. Right. So I'll be like, on Saturday, we're flying. On Sunday, we're still going to be flying, but we're going to land. But we're going to be going to dinner. And I'm going to probably want to shower after that flight before going to dinner. So I will have like, here's what I'm wearing that day. And I will, I'll create like a day by day. I will look at the weather, like the projected forecast. I will also write down on each day, like what our activities are, and I will go layer by layer. So rather than like head to toe, I will go like innermost layer to outermost layer. When I'm creating this though, I will highlight days where I will have access to laundry, because then I can see like, okay, we're going to be gone for 2 weeks, but I can do laundry twice, so I don't need 14 different things or 10 different things or what have you. Really, all I need is 5. And I'll go 5, 5, 4 or something like that. You know what I mean? And if I have access to laundry, like I will absolutely reuse and rewear stuff. I am not someone who is going to be like wearing something different every single day of the trip.
No, and I do that as well. Like if we're going to have laundry, I'm not going to pack. Like for this trip to South Africa, I believe we have laundry halfway through. So I only really need a week's worth of stuff that I need, which that's sort of my approach to packing anyways. I always pack about like 7 to 10 days worth of stuff. 10 days if I'm not doing laundry. But if I'm spending like 2 weeks there or something, I'm going to pack a week's worth and either get an Airbnb or something where I have laundry or find a way to do laundry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's the easiest way to pack carry-on, because you can't pack like a full month in a carry-on.
Yes.
Without having to do some laundry at some point.
So here's what I wanted to go back to when you were like, oh yeah, like I bring twice the amount of underwear I think I'll need.
I mean, I don't really. Probably a few pairs extra. But
right.
Yeah.
Right. No, I know that was hyperbole.
Yeah, I know. It was a bit of a joke. Yeah.
But so here's where I think that we do the same thing for certain things, but we just kind of like think about it differently. So for like on Safari, for instance, I will say, okay, we're going to do an AM game drive. So here's what I need for that. Then here's what I need to chill, like in the afternoon. Here's what I'll wear for that. Here's what I'll wear for the PM game drive. And then here's what I'll wear for dinner. So I'll have like 4 different sets of like underwear, shorts, t-shirt, shoes, socks. And then I'll say like, okay, so, like, so in one day I could have like 4 t-shirts listed, for example, but I'm not going to wear 4 different t-shirts.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think that that's where we're not saying one day, one shirt.
Yeah.
So it kind of evens out. I just don't like the way that I'm approaching it. I'm like, oh, okay. Like there are some days where I'm going to probably change before I go to dinner or something.
Well, and you
like
write it all down essentially because you make an
do.
Excel versus me is I will say like, okay, this is what we're doing out loud and then be like, okay, well, we have an AM game drive. This is what I need. Afternoon relaxing. This is what I need. Evening game drive, dinner. And then I go through what I need for all of that.
Got it.
Yeah.
So my approach here is that I have 0 maybe items, right? If I'm going to bring it, it has a purpose. Mm-hmm. I also am not going to bring something that I don't know how to use. Like I'm not going to bring like a new camera, for instance, if like I don't understand like how to operate it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I will also kind of ask myself the question, do both of us need this thing? Right? Like, do both of us need to bring an outlet adapter, or does one outlet adapter have like 2 USB things or what have you, where we can get by with just one? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those are the sorts of questions that I'm asking myself. Then I kind of go through, I cut it off where I can do laundry on this, and then I make a master list. So then I won't just go day by day. I'll be like, okay, I need 5 t-shirts. I need 4 polos. I need, like that sort of approach. Then I will pack. And if it is too much, going back to the weight or the dimensions, then I start thinking about, can I cut back? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, am I really going to need like a 5th, pair of pants? Or can I get by on 4? Something like that. Not get by, right? Like I want to like be fresh. But those are the sorts of things. And then I'll just kind of like trim it down until I pack.
Yeah.
But it's very systematic.
Yeah. Yours is. It's more organized, but mine still works, I guess, for me.
Yeah, yours absolutely works.
Yeah, and I feel like this episode helps prove that like there's multiple ways to do like to pack, I suppose, because we still are able to get all of our things in our carry-on suitcases. And I've only forgotten something like maybe once or twice. And honestly, it was because there was something else like, because I will say that I like to pack pretty early, like a day or 2 ahead of time, because then that gives me time. If I randomly think of something, I'll throw it in the bag. Because even making my packing list, I will forget certain things and then like need to go back and get that. Like the night I rushed to pack for France in 2021 and I forgot an outlet adapter. So I had to buy one when I landed. It also didn't help that we had like dinner and drinks. And then I was like, I really need to pack now. So that didn't help. And then my most recent trip, I forgot to pack my AirFly for the plane. So not a big deal, which like hooks into the thing, to the plane television, like entertainment system, so that you can use your actual Bluetooth headphones. That's such a small thing that I would have forgotten to put that on a packing list or just forget it in general. But now I'm like, can't forget.
And I think that's actually a really good point too, is pack at least 24 hours early.
Yeah.
Because remember on our way to Italy when our flight got canceled and we had to change and you were like, hey, we need to be at the airport in 2 hours. And I was like, ooh, I am at Target picking up last minute things.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Could have completely avoided all that. So pack early.
Pack early. And
pack often.
Yeah. I mean, if there's anything you need to purchase, just do that a few days early. If you need to go to Target or something and pick up things, do it ahead of time and be fully packed and ready to go. That is a lesson we learned, because I was calling Christopher being like, you got to get home like ASAP. We got to get to the airport right now, because we had to change our flight so last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, I think that's our methods of packing, and we hope that helps. We definitely have lots of packing lists and guides on the website. I have used Christopher's packing lists as a guide to help me write those in the past. But again, I also go through and do it all in my head and then write it down. So if you are more of a learner who likes to have a set list, you can check those out. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any thoughts or anything, you can always reach us on Twitter at WWHoneymoon, Instagram at Worldwide Honeymoon, or email kat@worldwidehoneymoon.com. But thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to rate and review our podcast. It takes less than a few minutes and really helps other people find us. Also, if you're enjoying this awesome free information on both the blog and podcast, when you're booking your next trip, head over to worldwidehoneymoon.com/resources and use the links provided. We earn a small commission at no cost to you when you book through these links, and these are all brands and companies we know, love, and use, like Skyscanner for finding the best flight prices, World Nomads for the best travel insurance, TripAdvisor for hotel bookings and reviews, and even Amazon for all of your travel purchases.
Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Wherever you are, wherever you go, remember to make every day a worldwide honeymoon.